Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Now before we get into today's video, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. Right, so let's jump right into it. On Wednesday, the 10th of August, Mark Parsons' tenure as Netherlands boss was ended by mutual consent following a disappointing European Championships, which saw the 2017 winners get knocked out in the quarter-final stage by France. So Mark Parsons was in charge for just under a year. He managed 18 games, and in that time he won 10, drew 5 and lost 3, scoring 51 goals, and his side conceded 18 times. Now I think for me it was an inevitability that Mark Parsons' tenure was going to come to an end going back to the next set of World Cup qualifiers coming up in September, due to the fact that there was a lot of murmurs that the players just didn't seem to get on well with his style of play and his tactics and how things were going behind the scenes. So it's not very surprising that the Dutch FA have decided to make this decision. As of yet, there has been no announcement on who Parsons' replacement will be, but we're not going to look into that. What I'm going to do today is have a look at where the changes need to happen for the Netherlands side going forward, because obviously they've got two very important, or one, I can't even think of how many games they've got, important World Cup qualifiers, because they are yet to qualify for next year's World Cup still, and obviously looking then towards, if they get to that World Cup and the future tournaments that they have. So they have a kind of similar problem to what England had just prior to Serena Wiegman coming in, is they've got a good abundance of young players on the cusp of making it the step up to the first team, and then they've got some players who aren't just at the end of their careers yet, but are probably coming towards the backer end of their career. So if we have a look at this past tournament, obviously we now exclude Sari van Veenendaal because she has retired. But if we look at the rest of the squad, players I'm going to say are 30 and above. You have Barbara Lorscheid, third choice keeper, at 31. You also have Sherida Spitzer at 32, Daniela van der Donk at 31, Renata Janssen also at 31, and then those players coming up towards the 30-year age, you've got Stephanie van der Graat at 29 as of time of recording. She's 30 in a few days time. You got Meryl van Dongen, who's 29, Dominic Janssen 27, Jackie Groenen at 27, and Lieke Martins at 29. Now I'm not saying those players 27, 29 are anywhere near the end of their careers, but it's one of them where you look at their positions and you think, okay, here's where their replacement is, and it's more of a natural replacement. So obviously we've got Barbara Lorscheid. I mean, expect Stephanie van Domselaar now to be the number 1, and more likely Jacinta Weimar to be the number 2. But then if we look at their recent call-ups and players, you've got Claire Dinkler, who's 20 years old, and Lisa Kopp, who's 24 years old. So that then solves that problem of, should Barbara Lorscheid decide to retire or not get called up by the future manager, we have then got 3 keepers, 24 and under. So that's a good set of problems to have in that type of sense. You then look at Stephanie van der Graat and Meryl van Dongen and Dominic Janssen in defence, all 3 mainly central defence, although Meryl has sometimes played on the left hand side. Again, all 3 are still very good defenders, but if we were to look forward to that World Cup next year, you can obviously expect probably Lynn Wilms to be at right back, Marissa Olislagers at left back, Aniek Nouwen as one of the centre halves, and then you can either maybe shove in Caitlin Dijkstra there. You've got Kirsten Kashbrai, Jano Levels, Lisa Dawn, Samantha van Diemen, and Siska Volkersma, who are all 25 and under. So again, defence is not really a problem to be too worried about, because like I said, those 3, it's good to have like a few veterans in and around the team, as England saw with this past tournament, having Jill Scott in that team as they won it, but she was like an impact player off the bench, so maybe you can look to the likes of Van der Graat or Van Dongen to do that sort of role. We then move into the midfield, so obviously we spoke about Spitzer and Van der Donk being above 30 and Jackie Groenen being 27. Obviously Groenen, I think, is a phenomenal player and will continue to be in that team, but for the likes of Spitzer and Van der Donk, if they were to retire before the World Cup next year or after the World Cup, it's not really a big problem, because Van der Donk can be replaced by Damares Egarola, and then Spitzer, again, if they want to continue playing that 4-3-3, you can bring back in Anessa Kargman, who's 26. You got Kaylee Van Doren, who can play in there, and Nadine Noordam and Eva Van Duren as well, both 24 and under, so it's not that big of a problem. So like I'm saying, the whole main gist of this is they haven't got that big of a problem if they want to stick to how they played under the years of Serena Wiegmann, and maybe just change one or two players. They can get back to being very successful. And again, say if Lieke Martins was to retire or just wasn't going to get picked by the next manager, that's not a problem, because you've got Romy Lerchter, who's 21, Esme Brooks, who's just turned 19 recently. You've also got Katja Snoosh of Everton, who's 25, doesn't turn 26 till the end of this month. You've got Chastity Grant, Joelle Smits, Venna Kalma, all again very young players that are coming through the national team and I think are definitely capable of making that jump up into the first team and being in and around the key parts of the Dutch future going forward. So for me, it's more about who is this next manager coming in. Do they have previous international experience, which Mark Parsons didn't have, or do we go with someone who doesn't have that international experience but knows, say, the Sarri van Veenendaal way of playing, of being that 4-3-3 formation? Is that something that the Netherlands players just need to keep simple, that they know that style of play, they know the certain players that are going to be in the team in and around those positions, and is it just the fact of getting their confidence back and progressing towards the future? Because it's something that is very easy to be sorted out, and it's going to be very interesting to see who the Dutch FA decide to bring in as Mark Parsons' replacement, because it's literally a few weeks' time. The 6th of September is their final game against Iceland, and a game that is very important for the pair of them, because Iceland sit only 2 points behind the Netherlands at the minute, but Iceland do have a game in hand, with their game also being against Belarus a couple of days earlier. So it's very important, if Iceland were to win or draw that game against Belarus, that final game against the Netherlands is going to be very key if the Dutch side want to automatically qualify for next year's World Cup, rather than having to go off via a playoff place. So it's going to be very interesting to see who the Dutch FA decide to employ and what route of play they decide to do, whether they do, like I say, keep it to Serena Wiegmann and integrate some of the younger players, or is it someone completely different to the style of play that the Dutch are used to, and completely different sort of way that they're going. It's going to be very interesting to see how that happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below on who you think will be Mark Parsons' replacement, and what changes would you make, if any at all, to how they are set up. And like I said at the start, make sure you like and subscribe and are following us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. And until next time, we will be back with our transfer video tomorrow. And until then, we'll see you soon.